There is a version of you that exists only in your mind, a collection of beliefs about who you are, what you're capable of, and what kind of person you've always been. You defend this version of yourself. You protect it. You make decisions based on it. What if I told you that this identity, this sense of self you've built so carefully, isn't freeing you? What if it's quietly and visibly trapping you? Most people spend their entire lives inside a prison they don't even know exists. Today we're going to explore how your identity became your cage, and more importantly, how to find the door out. From the moment you were born, you began collecting labels. Daughter, son, smart, shy, athletic, creative, troublemaker, good kid. These weren't just descriptions, they became instructions. They told you how to behave, what to want, and who to become. Over time, these labels hardened into something more permanent, an identity. And here's where the prison begins. Because once you believe you are a certain kind of person, you stop questioning it. You start living inside the boundaries of that story. The identity prison isn't made of bars or walls. It's made of assumptions, repeated narratives, and unconscious agreements you made with yourself years ago. It's the invisible architecture that determines what you think is possible for you, and most people never realize they're inside it. If you want to go even deeper into understanding how identity forms and how to genuinely break free from these invisible patterns, I've written an ebook that expands on all of this with exercises and frameworks you can actually apply. We'll find the link in the description below. So how does this prison get built? It starts early. When you're a child, you don't have a fixed sense of self yet. You're open, fluid, curious, but the world around you begins to tell you who you are. Your parents say you're sensitive. Your teacher says you're not good at math. Your friends say you're the funny one, and you, without realizing it, start to internalize these labels. You begin to perform them. You become them. This is how identity forms. Through repetition, through reinforcement, through the stories other people tell about you, and the stories you start telling yourself. The psychological term for this is a self-schema. It's a framework your mind creates to organize information about who you are. And once that schema is in place, your brain does something fascinating and dangerous. It looks for evidence to confirm it. This is called confirmation bias. If you believe you're not a creative person, you'll dismiss the creative ideas you have. If you believe you're socially awkward, you'll interpret neutral interactions as proof of your awkwardness. Your identity becomes a lens, and that lens filters out anything that contradicts the story. Culture plays a role too. Society hands you scripts. How to be a man, how to be a woman, how to be successful, how to be respectable. You absorb these scripts without questioning them. And soon, you're not just living your life, you're playing a role. Philosophers have long understood this. Sartre talked about bad faith, the act of deceiving yourself into thinking you have no choice, that you simply are a certain way. Nietzsche spoke of becoming who you are, implying that identity is not discovered, but created. But most of us never create. We inherit, we accept, we repeat. And here's the trap: the identity you've built to protect yourself, to make sense of the world, to fit in, eventually becomes the thing that limits you. Because once you say I am this, you also say I am not that, and the walls go up. Living inside the identity prison comes with a cost. It's not always obvious. The cost isn't dramatic, it's subtle. It's the opportunities you don't take because that's not who I am. It's the relationship you don't pursue because I'm not the kind of person who does that. It's the dream you quietly let go of because it doesn't fit the story you've been telling yourself for 20 years. The identity prison limits your emotional range. If you believe you're a logical person, you might suppress your emotions. If you believe you're a free spirit, you might avoid structure, even when it could help you. You become a character in a story, and characters have to stay consistent. But real human beings are not consistent. We're contradictory, complex, ever-changing. The prison also affects your relationships, because you're not just defending your own identity, you're assigning identities to others. You decide your partner is always critical or your friend is unreliable, and then you treat them according to that label. You stop seeing people as they are. See them as who you've decided they are. It's perhaps the deepest cost is this: you lose access to possibility. Because possibility requires uncertainty. It requires not knowing who you are. It requires being open to change. But the identity prison demands certainty. It says, I know who I am. And in that knowing, the door to transformation closes. Think of it like this. Imagine you're an actor who has played the same role for so long that you've forgotten it's a role. You've forgotten there are other characters you could play, other stories you could inhabit. The stage is vast, but you keep walking the same path, speaking the same lines, because you've confused the character with yourself. So how do you escape? Here's the secret, and it's simpler than you think, but it requires something most people are terrified of: letting go of the need to be someone. The way out of the identity prison is not to build a better identity. It's to stop clinging so tightly to identity altogether. It's to realize that the self is not a fixed thing. It's a process, a flow, a verb, not a noun. The first step is observation. Start watching your inner narrative. Notice when you say things like, "I'm not good at this," or "I'm the kind of person who always does that." Don't judge it, just notice it, because once you start observing the story, you create distance from it. You begin to see that the story is not you. It's something you're telling. The second step is questioning. Ask yourself, is this actually true, or is this just a belief I've repeated so many times it feels true? Where did this belief come from? Did I choose it, or did someone else give it to me? What evidence do I have against it? You'll be surprised how many of your core beliefs about yourself crumble under gentle inquiry. The third step is to embrace fluidity. Stop trying to be one coherent self. You contain multitudes. You can be introverted and extroverted. You can be serious and playful. You can be strong and vulnerable. You don't have to pick a side and defend it for the rest of your life. Let yourself be different in different contexts. Let yourself change your mind. Let yourself surprise yourself. The fourth step is to allow experimentation. Do something that isn't you. Take the art class even if you're not creative. Speak up even if you're shy. Be quiet even if you're the loud one. Not to become someone else, but to prove to yourself that the boundaries were never real. You're not betraying yourself by stepping outside your identity. You're liberating yourself. Finally, practice disidentification. This is a concept from spiritual and psychological traditions. It means recognizing that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your roles, not your history. You are the awareness that experiences all of those things. You're the space in which identity appears, not the identity itself. When you realize this, the prison dissolves, because there's no one left to trap. What happens when you escape the identity prison? You become lighter, freer. You stop defending a version of yourself that doesn't need defending. You stop performing for an audience that isn't watching. You stop saying no to life because it doesn't fit your story. You start responding to the world as it is, not as your identity says it should be. Creativity flows more easily because you're not filtering every idea through the question, "Is this me?" Relationships deepen because you're meeting people without the armor of a fixed self. Opportunities appear because you're no longer blind to the paths that don't match your old narrative. You become more authentic. Not because you've found your true self, but because you've stopped pretending there's only one self to find. You allow yourself to be a mystery, to be surprising, to be new. And in that openness, you discover something profound. You were never the prison, you were always the sky. Your identity is not your enemy, it's just a tool, story you once needed. But stories can be rewritten. Some stories are meant to be put down. The question isn't who am I? The question is who am I becoming? And the most honest answer might be, I don't know yet. And that's exactly where freedom begins. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below sharing one identity label you're ready to question. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.